Friday, 14th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, the atmosphere here is still extremely strained. Pym has just about reached boiling point. Mrs. Van Daan is in bed with a cold and trumpeting away. Mr. Van Daan grows pale without his fags. Dussel, who is giving up a lot of his comfort, is full of observations, etc., etc. There is no doubt that our luck's not in at the moment. The lavatory leaks and the washer of the tap has gone, but thanks to our many connections, we shall soon be able to get these things put right. I am sentimental sometimes, I know that, but there is occasion to be sentimental here at times. When Peter and I are sitting somewhere together on a hard wooden crate in the midst of masses of rubbish and dust, our arms around each other's shoulders and very close, he with one of my curls in his hand, when the birds sing outside and you see the trees changing to green, the sun invites one to be out in the open air, when the sky is so blue, then, oh then, I wish for so much. One sees nothing but dissatisfied, grumpy faces here, nothing but sighs and suppressed complaints. It really would seem as if suddenly we were very badly off here. If the truth is told, things are just as bad as you yourself care to make them. There's no one here that sets a good example. Everyone should see that he gets the better of his own moods. Every day you hear, if only it was all over. My work, my hope, my love, my courage, all these things keep my head above water and keep me from complaining. I really believe, Kits, that I'm slightly Bats today, and yet I don't know why. Everything here is so mixed up and nothing's connected any more, and sometimes I very much doubt whether in the future anyone will be interested in all my tosh. The Unbosomings of an Ugly Duckling will be the title of all this nonsense. My diary really won't be much use to Messrs. Bulkstern or Gerbrandy. Yours, Anne. Saturday, 15th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, shock upon shock. Will there ever be an end? We honestly can ask ourselves that question now. Guess what's the latest? Peter forgot to unbolt the front door, which is bolted on the inside at night, and the lock of the other door doesn't work. The result was that Crawler and the men could not get into the house, so he went to the neighbors, forced open the kitchen window, and entered the building from the back. He is livid at us for being so stupid. I can tell you, it's upset Peter frightfully. At one meal, when Mummy said she felt more sorry for Peter than anyone else, he almost started to cry. We're all just as much to blame as he is, because nearly every day the men ask whether the door's been bolted, and just today no one did. Perhaps I shall be able to console him a bit later on. I would so love to help him. Yours, Anne. Sunday morning, just before 11 o'clock, 16th of April, 1944. Darlingest Kitty, remember yesterday's date, for it is a very important day in my life. Surely it is a great day for every girl when she receives her first kiss? Well, then, it is just as important for me, too. Bram's kiss on my right cheek doesn't count any more. Likewise, the one from Mr. Walker on my right hand. How did I suddenly come by this kiss? Well, I will tell you. Yesterday evening at 8 o'clock, I was sitting with Peter on his divan. It wasn't long before his arm went around me. Let's move up a bit, I said. Then I don't bump my head against this cupboard. He moved up, almost into the corner. I laid my arm under his and across his back, and he just about buried me, because his arm was hanging on my shoulder. Now we've sat like this on other occasions, but never so close together as yesterday. He held me firmly against him, my left shoulder against his chest. Already my heart began to beat faster, but we had not finished yet. He didn't rest until my head was on his shoulder and his against it. When I sat upright again after about 5 minutes, he soon took my head in his hands and laid it against him once more. Oh, it was so lovely. I couldn't talk much. The joy was too great. He stroked my cheek and arm a bit awkwardly, played with my curls on our heads, touching most of the time. I can't tell you, Kitty, the feeling that ran through me all the while. I was too happy for words, and I believe he was as well. We got up at 8:30. Peter put on his gym shoes so that when he toured the house he wouldn't make a noise, and I stood beside him. How it came about so suddenly, I don't know, but before we went downstairs, he kissed me, through my hair, half of my left cheek, Half on my ear, I tore downstairs without looking around, and am simply longing for today. Yours, Anne. Monday, 17th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, do you think that Daddy and Mummy would approve of my sitting and kissing a boy on a divan? A boy of 17 and a half and a girl of just under 15? I don't really think they would, but I must rely on myself over this. It is so quiet and peaceful to lie in his arms and to dream. It is so thrilling to feel his cheek against mine. It is so lovely to know that there is someone waiting for me. But there is indeed a big but, because will Peter be content to leave it at this? I haven't forgotten his promise already, but he is a boy. I know myself that I'm starting very soon, not even 15, and so independent already. It's certainly hard for other people to understand. I know almost for certain that Margot would never kiss a boy unless there had been some talk of an engagement or marriage, but neither Peter nor I have anything like that in mind. I'm sure, too, that Mummy never touched a man before Daddy. What would my girl-friends say about it if they knew that I lay in Peter's arms, my heart against his chest, my head on his shoulder, and with his head against mine? Oh, Anne, how scandalous! But honestly, I don't think it is. We are shut up here, shut away from the world, in fear and anxiety, especially just lately. Why, then, should we who love each other remain apart? Why should we wait until we've reached a suitable age? Why should we bother? I have taken it upon myself to look after myself. He would never want to cause me sorrow or pain. Why shouldn't I follow the way my heart leads me, if it makes us both happy? All the same, Kitty, I believe you can sense that I'm in doubt. I think it must be my honesty which rebels against doing anything on the sly. Do you think it's my duty to tell Daddy what I'm doing? Do you think we should share our secret with a third person? A lot of the beauty would be lost, but would my conscience feel happier? I will discuss it with him. Oh yes, there's still so much I want to talk to him about, for I don't see the use of only just cuddling each other. To exchange our thoughts, that shows confidence and faith in each other. We would both be sure to profit by it. Yours, Anne. Tuesday, 18th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, everything goes well here. Daddy just said that he definitely expects large-scale operations to take place before the 20th of May, both in Russia and Italy, and also in the West. I find it more and more difficult to imagine our liberation from here. Yesterday, Peter and I finally got down to our talk, which had already been put off for at least 10 days. I explained everything about girls to him and didn't hesitate to discuss the most intimate things. The evening ended by each giving the other a kiss, just beside my mouth. It's really a lovely feeling. Perhaps I'll take my diary up there sometime, to go more deeply into things for once. I don't get any satisfaction out of lying in each other's arms day in, day out, and would so like to feel that he's the same. We are having a superb spring after our long, lingering winter. April is really glorious, not too hot and not too cold, with little showers now and then. Our chestnut tree is already quite greenish, and you can even see little blooms here and there. Eli gave us a treat on Saturday by bringing 4 bunches of flowers, 3 bunches of narcissus, and 1 of grape hyacinth, the latter being for me. I must do some algebra. Kitty, goodbye. Yours, Anne. Wednesday, 19th of April, 1944. My darling, is there anything more beautiful in the world than to sit before an open window and enjoy nature, to listen to the birds singing, feel the sun on your cheeks, and have a darling boy in your arms? It is so soothing and peaceful to feel his arms around me, to know that he is close by and yet to remain silent. It can't be bad, for this tranquility is good. Oh, never to be disturbed again, not even by Moshi. Yours, Anne. Friday, 21st of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, yesterday afternoon I was lying in bed with a sore throat, but since I was already bored on the first day and did not have a temperature, I got up again today. It is the 18th birthday of Her Royal Highness Princess Elizabeth of York. The BBC has said that she will not be declared of age yet, though it's usually the case with royal children. We have been asking ourselves what prince this beauty is going to marry, but cannot think of anyone suitable. Perhaps her sister, Princess Margaret Rose can have Prince Baudouin of Belgium one day. Here we are having one misfortune after another. Scarcely had the outside doors been strengthened than the warehouse man appeared again. In all probability it was he who stole the potato meal and wants to put the blame onto Eli's shoulders. The whole secret annex is understandably het up again. Eli is beside herself with anger. I want to send in too some paper or other to see if they will take one of my stories, under a pseudonym, of course. Till next time, darling, yours, Anne. Tuesday, 25th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, Dussel has not been on speaking terms with Van Daan for 10 days, and just because, ever since the burglary, a whole lot of fresh security measures have been made that don't suit him. He maintains that Van Daan has been shouting at him. Everything here happens upside down, he told me. I am going to speak to your father about it. He is not supposed to sit in the office downstairs on Saturday afternoons and Sundays any more, but he goes on doing it just the same. Van Daan was furious, and father went downstairs to talk to him. Naturally, he kept on inventing excuses, but this time he could not get around even father. Father now talks to him as little as possible, as Dussel has insulted him. None of us know in what way, but it must have been very bad. I have written a lovely story called Blur the Explorer, which pleased the three to whom I read it very much. Yours, Anne. Thursday, 27th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, Mrs. Van Daan was in such a bad mood this morning, nothing but complaints. First, there's her cold, and she can't get any lozenges, and so much nose-blowing is unendurable. Next, it's the sun's not shining, that the invasion doesn't come, that we can't look out of the windows, etc., etc. We all had to laugh at her, and she was sporting enough to join in. At the moment I am reading The Emperor Charles V, written by a professor at Göttingen University. He worked at the book for 40 years. I read 50 pages in 5 days. It's impossible to do more. The book has 598 pages, so now you can work out how long it will take me, and there is a second volume to follow, but very interesting. What doesn't a schoolgirl get to know in a single day? Take me, for example. First, I translated a piece from Dutch into English about Nelson's last battle. After that, I went through some more of Peter the Great's war against Norway, 1700 to 1721, Charles VII, Augustus the Strong, Stanislaus Leszczynski, Mazepa, Van Gors, Brandenburg, Pomerania, and Denmark, plus the usual dates. After that, I landed up in Brazil, read about Bahia, tobacco, the abundance of coffee, and the 1.5 million inhabitants of Rio de Janeiro, of Pernambuco and Sao Paulo, not forgetting the rivers Amazon, about Negroes, mulattoes, mestizos, whites, more than 50% of the population being illiterate, and the malaria. As there was still some time left, I quickly ran through a family tree. Jan the Elder, William Lodwick, Ernest Casimir I, Hendrik Casimir I, right up to the little Margaret Francisca, born in 1943 in Ottawa. 12 o'clock. In the attic, I continued my program with the history of the church. Phew! Till 1 o'clock. Just after 2, the poor child sat working. Just again, this time studying Nero, and a broad-nosed monkeys. Kitty, tell me quickly how many toes a hippopotamus has. Then followed the Bible, Noah and the Ark, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After that, Charles V. Then, with Peter, the Colonel, in English, by Thackeray, heard my French verbs, and then compared the Mississippi with the Missouri. I've still got a cold and have given it to Margot as well as to Mummy and Daddy, as long as Peter doesn't get it. He called me his El Dorado and wanted a kiss. Of course I couldn't. Funny boy, but still, he's a darling. Enough for today. Goodbye. Yours, Anne.